The fires down in California have burned through 40,000 acres. They have destroyed more than 12,000 structures. And more tragically, it has already claimed the lives of 24 people. Now, unfortunately for the people of California, it doesn't even look like they're going to be able to catch a break until later this week, because we learned within the past 20 to 48 hours that there is a particularly dangerous situation warning that was issued by the National Weather Service. That is all because there are hurricane-force winds that are expected in the area yet again, and those winds are likely to last through Wednesday. So maybe on Thursday, the winds might die down again, and we can breathe a little bit easier for the people in California. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that PDS warning is, and then we will go ahead and discuss how California is trying to prepare for these strong winds that are going to start ramping up as I speak.
Forecasters have issued a rare warning, a PDS, or particularly dangerous situation. Powerful offshore winds this week could threaten new communities in western Los Angeles County.
As the increasing wind event is upon us as we speak, the Los Angeles City Fire Department has maximized our resource capabilities and response capabilities.
Now, we'll get to some of that press conference here in a few minutes, but the way it has been described to me is that those Santa Ana winds, the problem with them is they are so hot and dry that they suck all of the moisture out of the water, or out of the air, and then when they rip down into the valley at 70, 80, 90 miles an hour into a region that hasn't seen rain in nearly a year, it is a tinderbox for disaster. So that is why these fires have been so hard to combat. That's why there has been such strain on the resources there, because there is no good system to combat a fire of this magnitude. Not to mention, there are multiple fires around the area, and so to deploy different firefighting resources to each and every fire, when you've got hurricane-forced winds, it becomes an overwhelming challenge. Now, there has been a ton of misinformation and disinformation flying around ever since this started to get on people's radar. And I think it's really important to realize that although California is not run perfectly, although the leadership in LA County is not perfect, you would have to believe that they are wanting to hurt their constituents to believe some of the absolutely insane conspiracies that are flying around right now. So that's why I thought it was important to try to understand what California is trying to do to prepare for this next event of hurricane-forced winds. So let's go ahead and take a listen to Gavin Newsom. He's talking about pre-positioning fire crews and resources to try to combat the best they can these terrible, terrible situations.
California Governor Gavin Newsom says fire crews are moving into hotspots in advance.
So I'm up here in Mandeville Canyon, which was the site in the last 2 nights of tremendous investment of resources, firefighters working the line, a lot of those assets still here, not only in anticipation of potential flare-up here in the Palisades fire, but also pre-positioned, as we're pre-positioning in many counties throughout the state of California because of the upcoming winds we're expecting. Monday, peaking Monday night into Tuesday, extending into Wednesday.
So as you can see there, they are trying the best they can. They are using the assets and the resources at their disposal to try to pre-position crews to be prepared for these incoming hurricane-force winds. I just don't have a better describer for how fast these winds are going to be coming in. I think they're projected around 70 miles an hour. And when you've got fires that are burning as ravenously as like the Palisades fire, you can have embers start or spark up new fires 2 miles away in minutes. It is an unprecedented situation. This is the time of year where California normally experiences most of its precipitation. This is when they would expect their rain. It has been an unusually dry season, and that is why the conditions have made this fire or these set of fires absolutely tragic. And I know there's a ton of people out there that don't like Gavin Newsom. I know they don't believe whatever Newsom has to say, even though he doesn't appear to be trying to lie to anybody. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the fire officials themselves echoing what Gavin Newsom said, saying, yes, we are trying to pre-position our assets the best we can to be prepared for what is coming.
As the increasing wind event is upon us as we speak, the Los Angeles City Fire Department has maximized our resource capabilities and response capabilities. All available LAFD resources have been staffed. I have strategically pre-positioned engine strike teams and task forces which are dedicated to rapid response for any new fire that breaks out in the city. In addition, I've directed the Fire Prevention Bureau to augment wildfire patrols in high hazard areas.
And I also think it's really important to understand, not only are these individuals very brave in what they are doing, but they are fighting an unprecedented disaster. Having these dry conditions, having all of the vegetation that was able to grow because of the last 2 years of precipitation has led to an unmitigated disaster. And no matter what infrastructure we had put in place, you were still likely to run into issues because our infrastructures aren't set up to fight fires that are so ferocious. It's so wild to me that so many people are willing to just spread a whole bunch of conspiracies around, not knowing the basic fundamentals of what is actually going on down there. You even have people like Elon Musk making a fool of himself, actually going and questioning some of the firefighters, and they easily debunk some of the crazy shit that he was saying. So I think it is behoove of us to have a little bit more faith in our leadership, have a little more faith in the crews that are on the ground there. I'm not saying we need to trust these people blindly. There is always ways for us to improve, and I'm sure after these fires die down and they are contained 100%, that there will be a retrospective as to different things that went wrong during this disaster. But when the city is on fire, and you have thousands of people displaced from their homes because they have burned down to the ground, maybe it's not the right time to start scoring political points. Maybe it's not the right time to start pointing fingers at this person and that institution. Let's just cool it for a few. Let these people do their jobs. We have people coming from all around the country to help California. We even have our allies like Mexico and Canada sending firefighters down here to help in these efforts. I'll be doing another video on that later. The people are working as hard as they possibly can, and we should give them credit for doing so. Let's not try to project all of this nefarious intent onto the leadership there in California. It does nobody any good. And it is insane that Gavin Newsom is now having to spend his time putting up a fact-checking website because of all of the rampant disinformation that is flying around. So let's be sure that we are doing our due diligence. Let's treat these people with a little bit more grace. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. These people are probably trying the best they can. They are not trying to hurt their constituents. They are not trying to depopulate the earth. This is an unprecedented situation, and we should treat it as such. I'll show you one more video. His name is Brian Rice. He is the president of a firemen's, I forget the name of the institution. Let's go ahead and listen to him. He's also talking about how we are pre-positioning assets to try to fight these fires with the incoming winds.
Is Brian Rice, the president of the California Professional Firefighters. Brian, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for being with us. We did hear from the governor overnight about pre-positioning fire crews for more potential flare-ups. What do you think is the scale of the risk of that here?
I think that for the next couple of days, and the governor said it through Wednesday, there's a pretty large spread of a red flag warning. I think the threat is very real, and that the state of California is moving resources in to match. I can't say match that threat, but in anticipation of that threat. The threat's real.
So I'm not sure what incentive Brian Rice would have to lie. What makes more sense to me is that he is understanding the information and the situation on the ground. He is also echoing the sentiment that they are trying to pre-position assets to make sure that they are as prepared as the best they can be for these incoming hurricane force winds. So let's give these people the benefit of the doubt. People are losing their livelihoods. 24 people have lost their lives. People are displaced from their homes in evacuation shelters. It is a disaster, and we should treat it as such. So, and for those of you that have been a bit doom and gloom, and there is every reason to be sad in these types of scenarios, I did want to show you this video because it choked me up a little bit. A man is going to look at the remains of what used to be his house, and he is looking for his dog. Take a look at what he finds.
Sweet. Wow. Awesome, man. Yay. Man. Wow. Man. Good shit.
In the face of all of this tragedy, in the face of disaster, it is still important that we point out the wins every now and again. I can't imagine being a dog owner myself if that were me in that situation. I don't even know how I would contain my joy if I were to find my dog after a fire had just ripped my house down to the ground. So I thought it was important to show that. I'm hoping that people can treat the city officials, the leadership in California with a little bit more grace. Keep the citizens of California in your thoughts. If you need to, or if you'd like to, or are able to help, I will try to remember to include some good ways to do that in the description of this video, but there are many organizations out there. The Red Cross comes to mind. The World Kitchen comes to mind. If you are able to help the people in California by making a one-time donation or even a recurring donation, this is the time for us all to step up and help where we can and just give... Let's just have a little bit more humanity, guys. Let's stop with the lies. Let's stop with the conspiracy theories. Let's stop assigning nefarious intent to all of the people involved here. Let's stop pointing the fingers. Let's help the people of California. They are our brothers and sisters, our Americans. We should be looking out for each one of them. If this was Florida, if this was North Carolina, getting hit with a hurricane, I would be saying the exact same thing. So let's come together and try to help these people, and let's try to act with a little bit more grace as we assess the ongoing situation. So I will leave it there for now. If you got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share it with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. I'll just leave it there for now. I hope everybody is well and stay safe.